We are live. Ugh.
There you go.
There we are. Okay, we are live. And I don't think anybody else is here. Oh.
Think the dishwasher might cause a problem?
No, I don't think so. It's not loud enough. Oh, today is Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah,
too.
it is, yeah.
I forgot about that.
6:30 or something.
Yeah, well, people might be all busy watching. Oh, Laura's here. Hi, Laura. We were just wondering if anybody was going to join us today. Super Bowl and all that kind of stuff. Not that we follow that. Because we don't.
Probably too many commercials on there anyway.
Yeah. So, let's give a couple of seconds here, see if anybody else is going to join us. You might be it, Laura. The only person. Yeah, Laura says she doesn't follow the Super Bowl either. Yeah, I could care less about it. And what flavor is this?
Peach again.
Oh, peach again.
We need to buy some different fruit.
Shit. Shoot, I mean.
Be careful.
My cup runneth over.
Well,
Oh, we got a few buddies. Oh, Chris is here. Hi, Chris. So we have Chris and we got Laura. Yeah, late afternoon here. Oh, Dana's here. Hi, Dana. I'm just mopping up my drink. I was wearing it. It's on my notes now. And, okay, so Chris, Laura, Dana, we have 3. Says we have 6, though. Actually says there's 7. Well, one of them would be us. Me, you.
yeah.
So, anyway, so Chris, how are things going over in Australia with the fires and everything? Haven't really seen a lot about that on the news
Well,
lately.
now everybody's talking about coronavirus.
No, I guess the coronavirus is taking off, but things are still bad, aren't they?
Yeah, I thought I read somewhere that Canberra was being shut down, was being
Hi, Bonnie.
parts of it was being evacuated because there was a big hot fire heading that way.
Oh, yeah? I'm sure some of the Australians would like to throw some of the politicians into the fire. We
But
certainly
it's
would
still
here.
bad, still burning bad in some places.
Yeah, she says it's still burning bad. Heat wave and winds not helping. Makes you wonder whether it'll ever end. Well, that's really too bad. Hopefully, oh, Andy's here. Hopefully things will get better soon. You people have been living through hell for months now.
Yeah.
Chris says, yeah, we definitely would like to throw some politicians in the fire. Yeah, we got those kind here too. Actually, is there any such thing as a politician you wouldn't want to throw in a fire? But anyways, okay, well, let's get started with who we have. It's not quantity, it's quality. So we tell ourselves. So what's been happening? Oh, Bonnie says, is anyone else having difficulty with the feed? Oh. What's happening at your end, Bonnie? Because we're watching it and it's fine here.
And yeah, we're actually sort of on the feed as well, so.
Yeah. Dana says hers is fine. Bonnie says voice is going wonky. Laura says no, feed is good.
Is it the dishwasher?
I don't know. Well, nobody. How's the sound for anybody else? Dana, Laura, Andy, Chris, are you guys having any problem with the sound? Chris says she can see and hear us fine, and Dana says it's fine too. So, okay, Bonnie, I don't know. Maybe it's something at your end, but anyways, hopefully it won't last. It'll clear up. Okay, so what's been up this week? Well, my mother. Speaking of, since we're going to be talking about disease today, my mother, we went over to visit her on Wednesday, and she seemed a little out of it. I thought, more than usual. And then she started, one of the nurses came around and was helping her put in her teeth, her upper plate. And my mother was being real doddery. And for her, I mean, my mother can be doddery anyways, but for her, I thought it was very unusual. She was having trouble picking them up. The nurse had them in her little cup thing, you know, that you put your fake teeth in. And my mother's kind of trying to get in. So the nurse helped her and they got them in her mouth and got them situated. And then the nurse went away. And my mother's kind of looking at it strange, and then she's kind of like as though she's gasping for air in a way. And I thought, oh, what's going on? And I said to her, it looked like she was going to throw up. And I says, Mom, what's the matter? Are you going to throw up or what? And she wasn't being very coherent. So I went right out and got a nurse, and they came in, and they took her back to her room. Well, they checked her too. She didn't throw up, but I guess she had thrown up on Monday at some point, so my sister told me. And so they thought, well, they better put her into bed. They checked her, and she had a low-grade temperature. And so they decided right then and there that best she be in bed, and they were going to isolate her as well. And, you know, because they don't want to take any chances in the nursing home, because things can spread through a nursing home like crazy. And, you know, things that for most of us wouldn't really kill us can kill them. So anyways, they gave her a couple of Tylenol. They gave them to her one at a time, and they gave her a drink of water to get it down. Now, my mother doesn't usually have any problem, she says, swallowing pills. And they gave her a choice. They said, you know, do you want it orally or do you want a suppository? And my mother said orally. So they pop a pill in her mouth, they give her a drink, and she got the first one down. Then they gave her the second one. Well, that was quite a feat, trying to get that down. It was still in her mouth. And they gave her more water, and it was still in her mouth. And it was painful to watch, because it was like there was something wrong with her, you know, swallowing ability or whatever. But anyways, they took her temperature, said she had a little bit of a fever, a low-grade fever, so they isolated her. And we stayed for a little bit, a while longer. And I just tried to call her before we went on the air, and my mother's typical thing these days is she doesn't answer the phone. And I didn't figure she would. So they haven't called me to tell me there's anything serious wrong with her or anything like that, and they would. So I'm not that worried, but I'm just thinking, I asked them too, I said, she's been seeming a little doddery lately. You know, I'm wondering if she's getting the early stages of dementia. And they said there is a test. I asked, is there a test you can do? And they said, yeah. And they said they'd put her down for that test. So when we go over on Wednesday this week, I'll have to ask them if they've done the test or whatever.
Yeah, Bonnie, I mentioned that because that used to happen to my mother all the time. When every time she had a urinary tract infection, she would go a little weird.
Yeah.
And we forgot kind of to mention that when we left the nursing home, because she has had a urinary tract infection before.
Mm-hmm.
But because I used to always ask my mother, does it hurt when you pee? And unless they complain about it, they may not check for that.
I would have thought that would have been one of the first things they would check.
Wow.
But maybe not. Well, we'll have to, when we're over there on Wednesday, I'll have to ask some questions about it. I may phone over there tomorrow to the nurse's station anyways and just ask about how things are and that kind of thing. But I'm just wondering whether my mother is starting to give up, because she has been going progressively downhill since she entered the nursing home. Um, she doesn't seem to, that's why she doesn't answer her phone. She says to me, "Oh, I get so flustered answering the phone." And lately she does, when we go over there, the TV set, she doesn't seem to be doing anything with it.
Or she can't seem to grasp the how to change channels on a TV set, and has never been able to do that.
Yeah, Laura says, "I wonder if the lymph nodes against the throat are swollen, making it tough to swallow."
Maybe.
Maybe.
Or
But they
maybe
have,
it was also her position, she's laying in bed.
well, that could have been too, because she was in kind of an awkward position, and the nurse said to her, "You know, you look like you're in an awkward position. Here, do you want to straighten out?" I says, "No, she was fine, but it didn't look to me like she was in a very comfortable position." So Bonnie says, "No, they don't usually check, I guess, for urinary tract infection, but well, I may call over there tomorrow and just find out what the lay of the land is. I don't know." Because, as I said, they're very good over there letting you know about things. She did have a fall last Sunday. I think she slid out of her chair. I asked her, I said, "So I heard you had a fall." She didn't hurt herself, but they called me immediately to let me know that this had happened. And I figured, was she reaching for something again? Because I've had that talk with her many times, but she ignores me. And so I said to her, "So I heard you had a fall, Mom." Oh, did I? "Yeah, I got a phone call saying you kind of slipped out of your chair and that. And they said you didn't hurt yourself." "Oh." Well, I said, "Were you reaching for something?" "Well, yeah, maybe." This is all the answers I get, so I have no idea. Whatever. What?
No, Bonnie suggested to ask for a check, so.
Yeah, well, I will. I will ask about that. So, yeah, I'll phone there tomorrow and see how things are. Chris says UTIs in older women can present dementia-type symptoms. Ew.
Yeah, well, that's what happened to my mother. Is every time she had, my mother had dementia, and every time she began to get really weird, her dementia got really bad. That's usually when she got a urinary tract infection.
Yeah, and Bonnie says definitely just what she said too. So, okay, well, that's good information. I will check that all out. But yeah, I would have thought that they...
Not necessarily. See, they may not necessarily really notice that your mother's any different than normal.
No, I suppose. Well, Bonnie also says on here that it causes falls as well.
Yeah.
So, okay. Good to know. Okay, moving on. Walter had another embroidery class. How was that?
It was okay. It
Well,
was okay,
do tell.
but actually, I didn't really learn anything much new other than that one of the women that are in my class is totally computer illiterate. Like, she said, "Well, how do I get an embroidery file from a website to my machine?"
To her computer. Yeah.
Yeah, so I said, "Well, first you got to download it to your computer." Well, her face went blank. Like, download, what's that? And then after you get it on your computer, I said you have to copy it to a USB. And that copy, well, how do one copy? So anyway, I said, "Well, do you have do you have a son or a daughter that knows how to do it?" And she says, "Yeah, my son knows how to do it, but I said, "Well, you should watch him do it so that you learn how to do it, right?" She goes, "Oh, well, I just let him do his own thing," and then doesn't watch it. So
She's going to have a lot of problems with
you're
her
gonna have a lot of
embroidery
problems considering that you had one of the big things is you got to get embroidery files onto your machine. So the other part that was I knew I didn't even would go past over her head is that she has to have 2 directories in her.
Oh, well, that is confusing because the embroidery machine software does not work quite the same way as you're used to in a computer. It has these special, I learned that the hard way because I just assumed when I first got my embroidery machine that you transfer your embroidery files that you've downloaded from the web to a USB stick, and you stick that into the side of the machine. So I figured you just put it on. Well, no, there's 2 directories that are a must. You have to have those 2 directories on the jump drive, or it will not read the patterns, which to me, like, it's nuts. I mean, on a regular computer, I mean, not that it's a good thing to do, but if you downloaded something and it just went, say, to your C drive, bang, and not into a directory, you would still be able to use it.
Yeah.
But not on the embroidery machine, at least not on a Janome embroidery machine. Their interface is kind of dumb, the way it's designed.
Yeah, Bonnie says she's one of those people that shouldn't have an embroidery machine, which is true. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't know how to get the stuff to your machine, how are you going to actually use
Yeah.
it? So.
Well, thing is, too, any modern sewing machine now, even lower end ones, are pretty much computer based now with them. I mean, so you got to have some very fundamental knowledge of how to run a computer. And knowing about a directory system, I would think in this day and age, that's pretty standard, because you have to deal with a directory system when you're using a computer, no matter what. We're not in the 1980s
Well, actually,
anymore.
Yeah, I mean, she seemed to be able to surf the web because she
Yeah.
said she got onto one of the websites, right? Embroidery Online or
Yeah.
something. But then they usually ask you to set up a profile. And then part of the profile, some of these places that ask is like, what's your largest hoop size? Or stuff like this. And they ask you what kind of, what format of file you need.
Well, you said she had a problem with that, though.
Yeah, she said, well, they asked me these weird questions and I didn't understand what they were. And I said, well, what were the questions? And she couldn't remember what the questions were. So I said to her, they probably asked you what kind of machine you said. One of them was what kind of machine she had, which she knew what kind of machine she had.
Like what brand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then it asked you, I guess, what format file you needed it in. Well, on the Janome files, you need something called a .jef file, JEF, for Janome embroidery file, right? She didn't know that. Okay, so then she said, then it asked her what her largest hoop size was, and she didn't know.
Well, you want to know something, though? Does the instructor go over that kind of information
What about
in the first class?
No, because you're supposed to know how to use your embroidery machine when you're in the class.
Well, yeah, but it's supposed to be. Well, no. It is billed as a beginner's kind of.
No, it's not billed as
No.
a beginner. It's a boot camp. It's not billed as a beginner.
Well, boot camp usually means basically beginner stuff. At least I assume
No,
that's what.
boot camp meant, to me, sounds like a intense training session.
Well, I think in training session, and the instructor there should know this. Most of those people that are coming in and taking those classes are people who got an embroidery
Boot
machine for
camp
the
is
first
heavy
time.
duty intense.
Okay. All right. Well, I think it's misnamed then,
Yeah,
because I think people that are taking the class assume
Yeah.
that they're going to take them right down to
Yeah.
bare basics. And
Well, she didn't know that it was a JEF file, and then she also didn't know. Okay, she didn't know her largest hoop size either. So
Andy says, do the vendors have support available to walk her through the process?
yes, actually, when
Yeah.
you buy a machine, the lady that runs the store says she'll sit down with you. You can have as many lessons as you want to learn how to use it.
And it does come with a CD or DVD. Of course, you'd have to know how to use that in the
Yeah, I
computer.
know.
That where they have a video that shows you the basics, and you can go on YouTube.
They have it on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
If you don't have a CD drive in your computer,
Yeah.
you can go onto YouTube and they have the instructions on there as well.
Yeah, or you can go to
And it does actually, I went through that video and it does actually walk you through quite a lot of
Yeah.
stuff. And I think it explains the JEF file and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember. I went through that when I first got my machine, but that was a while ago, so I've forgotten what it does.
Well, anyway, the instructor had already said to her, bring in your computer and she'd help her walk her through getting the files down.
Yeah, Bonnie says maybe ask the folks what level they are at when they register for the class.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, they don't have a level on that.
No.
They do on the quilting classes. They
Yeah.
have confident beginner, intermediate, and advanced.
Mm-hmm.
Although some people we have found don't really pay attention to those classifications because they see the quilt on display that's going to be done in a class and they go, oh, I like that, I want one. And then they get in the class and they don't even have any sewing skills. I've been in a couple of classes where there's always somebody in there who just got their mother's sewing machine out of a closet where it had been stored for 30 years and decided it might be something they should learn how to do. And then they walk into an advanced level class and they're completely lost. So they don't pay attention to those levels. And those levels are explained in the printed catalog that they put out for their classes. They explain what's meant by beginner, confident beginner, and all of that. So
Actually, she did say she had a laptop, so.
well, she must know something.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, she knew how to surf. I know
Maybe she's
that.
got a urinary tract infection
I don't
and
know.
it's giving her dementia. I don't know. Chris says, I can see her probably going to bring in her desktop computer with monitor and everything. No, she's got a laptop, Walter says, but yeah, that would be something.
Yeah.
Classes I took, you had to know a certain level before you could go on to the next one.
Well, actually, they also talked about, that one person joined the class that took it that didn't have an embroidery machine.
Oh, but that was the same woman who's in my sewing class, and I was sitting next to her the other day, and she said, well, I found out, she says, I can't figure out how to get my embroidery machine to work. And I said, oh, well, are you taking a class? And she says, yeah. And I said, well, what embroidery machine do you have? And she says, well, I have a
6,500.
6500. And I'm looking at her and I'm thinking, well, that's not an embroidery machine. I don't know of a 6500 in a Janome that, is an embroidery machine.
No, it's just a sewing machine.
And then she says, yeah, she says, it didn't come with any of the hoops. And supposedly you have to have these hoops. And I looked at her and says, you don't have an embroidery machine. That's why it didn't come with hoops. And sure enough, then she was in your class.
Well, no, she didn't actually make it to
Oh.
the class or whatever, or I'm not exactly sure what happened, but she was quickly informed that she didn't have
Like,
embroidery.
okay, I can understand people having problem with computer technology. Okay, not everybody has the same amount of knowledge as other people. Yeah, I can understand that. I can see when you're getting a brand new machine that you have never done something like this before with, I can see you being somewhat confused. I don't understand why you wouldn't figure out, though, that your sewing machine is not an embroidery machine. Like, two different animals.
Well, not only that, somebody had asked her. One of the ladies had talked to her, and she said that for some reason she thought that there was a way she could embroider on a regular sewing machine, and this was showing you a technique on how to do that.
Oh.
Well, technically you can.
Yeah, well, we saw those videos from India where
Yeah.
people were taking old straight stitch machines and were actually doing embroidery. Like, it was like freehand quilting except free motion embroidery. But they were obviously people who had been doing this for years because their patterns and that were extremely intricate, and all they were doing was just moving their fabric underneath the needle. It wasn't any computerized program, nothing like that. But I don't think the average person can do that. So, well, who knows?
That's what happens when you buy stuff from Craigslist.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Hi, Kathy.
there are things on sale on Craigslist or something like that where people misrepresent stuff and
Yeah.
say that it will do something that it doesn't.
Well, Andy says some people don't want to take the time to learn something on their own. They want someone to give them the magic bullet. That's for sure. I mean, I'm the kind of person that just plays. When I get something brand new, I hate reading manuals. To me, a manual is on a need-to-know basis. If I can't figure it out on my own, then I'll go to the manual and see what it is. Which, in some ways, isn't probably the best way to do things, but that's the way I do it. But you play with it. Some of them though are afraid to touch it. They figure like if they push the wrong button, they'll blow up the world.
Well, actually, somebody did actually say that in the class. They were saying something. Well, that's what she said in the one that had the computer problem. She goes, "Well, I don't want to just press any button. I think it might screw up, right?" And I said, "Well, you can't really do it anymore."
No. Besides, there's safeguards built into the system so that you don't wreck your machine.
And there's another lady in there that she bought a secondhand embroidery machine. And it was she had it sitting around for 3 years and had never used it. And is taking the class to learn how to use it. Well, when she brought it in, I guess it's been sitting around for so long it had seized, right? Or whoever she bought it from, it wasn't working properly or whatever. And so she had to have it repaired before she could use it. And even then, like, the instructor had to really sit down with her and help her out to get it to go. So,
yeah, Chris says that is true. A lot of people want a quick lesson. My hubby gets me to read the manuals and tell him how to do stuff. Yeah, Walter's a real manual reader.
I read the manual from front to back. So
I'm an experiential kind of experimenter. I just start pushing buttons, see, wonder what this does. Again, may not be the best method, but I do learn a lot because usually I make a mistake. The world did not blow up, and I learn from the mistake. But that's not everybody's way of learning things either. Bonnie's asking, are you still happy with the bro thread, Stephen? Well,
actually, we found a different thread.
Yeah, we found actually a better thread, and that's the Super B. The bro thread, the only thing I got with it, I just bought some metallic, and it worked fine. I haven't done a lot with it, with the bro thread, but then we discovered, as we were talking about before, from that monfil place in Quebec.
Now, somebody had the bro thread at the embroidery class last week, and it was not stitching properly.
No?
No, it wasn't. It didn't look great. Like we normally use the 40 thread here that Steve has that we've purchased. It's more expensive thread, and this 40 thread stitches out very well.
Yeah.
Right. But then we got I got some bro thread that you gave me at Christmas time. But one thing I noticed about it is it's not very thick and it doesn't give you a very dense weave. And last week at the embroidery class, somebody had a whole bunch of this bro thread, and she tried to stitch some of it out in 40, which came out okay.
Yeah.
And then when she used the bro thread, it came out looking really horrible.
So,
right? And the Super B stuff that we've been getting, which I have figured out, it's the same. I'm pretty sure it's the same as this other thread that they sell in the U.S. called Exquisite thread. And the Super B is marketed in Canada by a Quebec company. So it's also sold on Amazon. But it's actually pretty good, and it has, you can get a 50 color pack on Amazon for 1,000 meter spools for $95 or something.
which is really a good price.
Yeah, and at all the rest of their colors, though, they all sell in 5,000 meter spools. But
they can hear the dishwasher.
They sell the 5,000 meter spool for $5.99. It just stopped. So.
Yeah, they'll stopped on that. Yeah, sorry. Well, we can turn that off. We didn't know if you'd be able to hear it or not. We're sitting on top of the dishwasher. It's right here underneath the counter.
I put a cancel on it, okay?
Yeah, okay. Actually, the reason it's running, just as a little aside here, we wouldn't normally be running it while we're doing a live. It's a fairly quiet dishwasher, but you're still going to hear it. We're having a little problem with it. It wasn't putting water into the dishwasher. I thought, oh crap, is this another one? This is what would be our third dishwasher in this
It'll
house.
finish in a minute.
Yeah, this part you're hearing right now will die in a minute, so don't worry about it. But we're still experimenting with it to see if we have a problem or if we don't have a problem. So, But anyways, that'll be done in a second. So, and then it'll shut itself off, so you won't hear it. So back to this. Somebody asked. So Bonnie said, "What do you get from Monfil?" Well, they sell stabilizers and they sell sewing thread and embroidery thread,
Yeah.
and some other things too. And so far, we've been very happy with them. Their stabilizer is a good price, and because stabilizers are expensive. I mean, we were buying Floriani stabilizers,
Yeah.
which are very good, but they were about 3 times the price. And you get more for less through Monfil. And if you order more than $100 worth, it's free shipping.
In Canada.
In Canada, yeah. And if you're interested in checking out their site, it's monfil.ca, monfil.ca.
But they're the company that's selling it that they've got is called Super Punch.
Oh, that's the
Right. So if you see it listed on Amazon, the company is called Super Punch.
Chris says it's okay. We're just messing with you. Yeah, he said, yeah. I thought they had sprung a leak. Yeah. Okay. Just fooling around with us. What are you getting?
Fred.
Oh, okay. Walter's gonna get thread. Just had some fetus interruptus. Oh, Chris, you're in rare form today, aren't you? Yeah. So far, we've been very much impressed with this company getting stuff. Plus, their customer service seems so far very good. So Walter's got the thread here to show you,
This is a 5,000 meter spool
and it cost.
at $5.99.
Yeah, that's pretty
It's
darn
a-
good.
It's a big spool
Yeah.
though. I don't know if that was. These are all the colors I got for the. I bought them the 50 colors for $95.
Which is a really good price.
Yeah. So.
Didn't you order some more too?
Yeah, I ordered some more, but the other ones I had to get 5,000 meter spools.
Oh, okay. And what he just bought the other day from his class is at our dealer.
So you can see the difference in size. That's the 5,000 meter spool, and this is 1,000 meter spool.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they do have a good color selection, except, what did you say? Not all the colors are available?
Only 50 of the colors are available in 1,000 meter spools. They have 175 colors, but they're all in 5,000 meter spools.
So you can go through embroidery thread pretty fast.
And the normal price on the 1,000 meter spools is $2.99 each.
Yeah, so Floriani, we pay $6.99 for 1,000 meter spool at our local sewing store that we go to. And Walter just bought a collection of Floriani threads, embroidery threads. They come out in sets sometimes of 120 colors. And they do it by sort of seasonal, or no, they had part one, part two.
They have three
set
parts.
one, set
There are
two.
360 Floriani colors, right? And they have 3 sets of boxes that are in 120 of the colors each.
And he bought me a box of them back when I first got the embroidery machine. And at that time, for the 120, it was like $600.
Yeah.
Now there's a special going on in the store, I guess.
Actually, Floriani has the special.
Yeah.
I looked it up today.
And so what's $350?
It's $350 for
120.
120.
1,000 meter spools. But he just bought 50,000 meter spools of the Super B for what, $95?
95, yeah.
So if you bought 153, that's still
Yeah.
way less than even the sale price that Floriani's giving, or the special deal. So Chris says, can I ask a silly question? Do the threads come in different thicknesses?
No, they're
No.
all 40 weight.
40 weight, yeah. The Floriani, it's
It's
40,
40
weight.
weight. But it's slightly thicker.
Yeah.
But
and,
it's not noticeably thicker when you embroider with it.
and on the website for Monfil, they tell you that. They say it is slightly thinner than
An average.
an
40 weight.
average one. But that doesn't seem to cause any problems. Walter's
No.
been using it like crazy and not having any problems with it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still biased towards Flori Annie because it has a little bit more of a sheen to it. It's a little tougher, I think, a little stronger, isn't
Actually,
it? Or
no. Actually, if you pull it, it breaks more easily than the other stuff does.
What Flori Annie does?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. And yet it's slightly thinner. Don't know about that.
Yeah, the 35 weight would be a little thicker.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, the higher the number, the smaller the thread. And 80
Oh
weight
yeah, right,
is-
right. Yeah. Christus, I was thinking of waxing some and using them for bookbinding, all the pretty colors. That's an interesting idea. Because I've done bookbinding, and I usually buy waxed thread for that, already pre-waxed, or sometimes I have waxed my own. I don't know. I suppose it would be strong enough to do that. So yeah, and yeah, you have the colors and the sheen. That would be nice. Yeah, hadn't thought about that.
The thread that the Flori Annie thread that we use, and
Bonnie says it's actually thinner, 35 weight.
no, because we have 80 weight. No, according to what what's her face was
What, Shirley?
Shirley was saying that the bigger the number, the thinner the thread. That's what she said.
Well,
So
that's how sewing thread works.
if you go the bobbin thread, right, that we use, right, it's 80 weight and it's thinner than.
Yeah, well, that's how sewing thread
Yeah.
works. So, she says that this stuff is thinner.
That's strange.
Yeah, that's weird. Larissa, I'm not familiar with sewing, so forgive me if this seems silly, but can one do just embroidery machine work to create a project, or is it meant to make embellishments for quilts and such? No, you can just embroider for whatever purpose. You can embroider on towels, t-shirts, napkins. You can do there's some quilting or not quilting patterns, but embroidery patterns will do a whole like panel for you. They're very intensive and they take a long time. You can also embroider something called freestanding lace designs, and I showed some of those back a few weeks ago around Christmas time. My Santa and the reindeer and my gingerbread house, those were all done as what's called freestanding embroidery with them. So yeah, you can do a lot of things with an embroidery machine on there. So yeah. Yeah, she says she's not sure why the stuff is thinner.
Well, actually, what we did say is they did say is that a 40 weight thread in one brand and a 40 weight thread in a different brand may actually be a different thickness.
Yeah, actually,
It's not.
well, it might have something to do with what the core is, because
Yeah.
some are polyester cord, some are rayon cord.
Yeah.
And
Like the Flori Annie that we use is polyester, and the Super B stuff that we use is also polyester. But you can get threads that are rayon,
yeah,
that are embroidery threads.
so
and
maybe
stuff
that
like
makes a difference. Yeah, Laura says, okay, cool. I'm interested in checking this out. Believe me, Laura, if you buy yourself an embroidery machine, personally, I don't think you'll regret it. I've had a lot of fun with mine. It just opens up, and you don't need to be a sewer. Like, you don't have to be somebody who has a lot of experience with sewing things or quilting and that to do embroidery. And there's a lot of patterns out there. Like, you buy online, you download them to your computer, and then transfer them to your embroidery machine. But
Bonnie says OML University from Chatham, Ontario offers free embroideries and tutorials on every Saturday.
yeah, well, that's
Oh, okay.
that's Sue down there.
oh,
You know,
yeah,
they
yeah.
show. Yeah, I watch her a lot of the time too. Yeah, and also there's one that's that comes. There's a company in New Zealand I bought from them as well. It's called Creative Kiwi, and they do all kinds of tutorials on their products and things like that as well. Many of them do. And the thing about this, what I was going to say too, is I forgot what I was going to say. But
Oh.
in regard to, like, not, you don't have to be someone who knows how to sew to use an embroidery machine.
Yeah, no, you don't have to.
So now, oftentimes the machines are separate. An embroidery machine will not, you can't use for regular sewing, but mine,
Yeah, there's different kinds of ones. Like I have an embroidery machine that does only embroidery. It doesn't do sewing. Okay. The one that he has is a more expensive model. It is a combination. It does embroidery and it also does sewing.
yeah, which is nice, but it's a very high-end machine in Genomi's, and it retails for $14,000. I didn't spend $14,000. I got it for half that price. But that's the suggested manufacturer's price. I got it for $7,500 because they were having a sale on at the store. And the store we go to, she's really good on her prices on most things. So, Laura says, I'm in Guelph area, so I'll check out the shops locally for any classes. Yeah, there might be. Oh, so you're in the Guelph area. I went to University of Guelph. That's where I got my first degree. I love Guelph. Yeah, Andy says, hard to remember when people used to embroider by hand. I want to try that. I'm not good at hand sewing. It's usually bloodletting for me. Although, mind you, since I took up quilting, I have gotten a little bit more confident in doing like simple hand sewing for certain things. But I just think, sometimes it would be nice to have something that you could work on that's a tiny little piece that doesn't need a whole lot of technology that you could take with you, say on a long trip or something, where you're moving from one place to another and nothing much to do or to see, kind of a thing, that kind of stuff. So I haven't done anything about it yet. My sister's a cross stitcher. She's been cross stitching since she was a teenager, and she loves cross stitching. But one, I don't know if my eyes can handle that.
I don't know. Bonnie says she hates the hand stuff. I said I agree with you. Many years ago, I always liked embroidery, but many years ago, I thought I'd try a hand one. Well, I only got about halfway through it, and I gave up.
Yeah. Andy says that's what thimbles are for. Yeah. Yes, I think so. True. But, this will sound really stupid, but if a button fell off a shirt that I had, I would usually put the shirt near the far end of the closet because I'd never get around to sewing it back on because I'd have to sew it on by hand. When I got my first sewing machine, it had a button sewing feature on it. I love it. In fact, it's so much fun. When a button drops off a shirt, I just rip it down to my sewing machine and let it go to it. It's so I never have to worry about not having buttons.
Strength to put the hoop?
Yes and no. If you had really bad arthritis in your hands and your fingers, you would find it difficult because you can loosen off the tension, but you have to tighten that back up again before you put it in. And depending on how many layers of fabric or stabilizer fabric you're going through, yeah, it can be a little difficult. And so, if you had arthritis in your hands and that, you might find it somewhat trying for you.
Mind you, you don't have to hoop all your layers necessarily.
No, you don't. You can do something called floating. And I do this quite a bit. What floating is, a hoop can only handle so much. And sometimes, depending on the number of stitches, embroidery stitches, like if something is, the rule of thumb that I was told was for every 8,000 stitches, you need another layer of stabilizer. So you could have some patterns that are like 50,000, 110,000 stitches. Now, you wouldn't do the math. You wouldn't be putting like 10 layers of stabilizer underneath it. But what I usually do is generally speaking, if it's anything over 8,000 or 10,000 stitches, I will use 2 layers of stabilizer. I'll hoop 1 layer stabilizer, then the other one I put underneath the hoop when it's mounted on the machine. That's called floating it. And once a few stitches get through it, it holds it and it moves along with the hoop, no problem. And then you check. If you're having a lot of thread breaks when you're first starting the design, you probably need to add another layer of stabilizer. And you just do the same thing. You just float it under the hoop. You don't have to unhoop what you've already started.
Yeah, like I've used On that one that I did on my bag that had 40,000 stitches, I put 4 layers on, but I hooped 1 layer, but I floated 3 layers underneath.
Yeah. Well, remember the problem I was having with that snowman, the freestanding lace snowman, and his hat, and it was breaking all the time. And I finally figured out that I needed to add a couple of more layers of stabilizer under it, and that stopped the problem. Um, so yeah, it's kind of hit and miss. Something you get used to once you get used to your machine, and you learn these things. Bonnie says you can float the material on top too. I don't always hoop the material. Yeah, you can. Um, and I've done that too.
Yeah, like when we did the towel yesterday, we hooped the stabilizer, but then I floated the towel on top.
Yeah, I want to ask Bonnie a question though. She says hers is easy to hoop. Do your hoops have the little clip that um you it's like a little lever and you open it and close it with that? Mine don't. Mine have like the screws on it and you use your fingers to tighten it up. But I have seen certain machines that come with hoops that have this little lever on it. I think Brother sewing machine or Brother embroidery ones have that kind of thing, and those look like they'd be easier
Well,
to
I
hoop.
have the combination, right? I have the older hoops, the hoops have a little screw on it,
Yeah,
and the big hoop that I have
it has the
levers.
clip.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Or lever. Yeah, Bonnie, that's what you have. Yeah. So, what kind of embroidery machine do you have, Bonnie? Like what manufacturer? Do you have like a Brother
I thought
or?
she said, didn't a Husqvarna or
Oh, is a
something?
Husqvarna? Oh, yeah, I mentioned that before. Hers has screw and lever as well. Mine just have screw to them. So I
Mm-hmm.
think the lever would make it easier.
She has a Husqvarna.
Husqvarna. Yeah. Okay. So back to Freya. Um, if you had the kind that have a lever on the side, I think you would find it easier. If there's a problem with your hands putting them down. And Bonnie says metal are best. So Bonnie are Husqvarna metal because mine are plastic, very heavy duty plastic hoops. So, anyways, well, that's interesting. Oh, you've got the magnetic hoops.
Mm.
Okay, I've looked at those, but they don't make them for my Janome 15,000. They make them for his Janome 550 embroidery machine, but they do. There is a company. It's called Dimes Designs in Machine Embroidery, and they're the ones that I think invented what they call a snap hoop, the magnetic hoops, and they have something for quilting that works with my quilting hoop. My quilting hoop has magnets with it, but basically you use these they're magnetic clips, and once you have the stuff in your quilt laid over top of the hoop, you put these clips on to hold it down. This thing looks like that they have this company looks like it replaces those clips and it's a whole top hoop and it just locks down with the magnets. It's got 12 industrial strength magnets in it. And it's actually not that expensive. It's about 50 bucks American. I'm not sure what the shipping is. I'm still debating whether I want to order one or not. Hers are made, Bonnie says hers made for Husqvarna machines as I don't want to nullify my warranty. Yeah, I know that they have they have them for Brother, they have them for Husqvarna. And as I said, they do have them for his embroidery machine. They don't have them for mine. Because my hoops, I imagine your hoops probably lock in sideways. Mine don't. Mine have an arm that extends out from the machine. It's collapsible. And mine hook into that arm that runs outside of the machine. Not like, so my arm's up here instead of on the side over here. Walters is on the side.
Mm. Bonnie says you get one, you'll never go back.
Yeah. Dana says if you purchase a magnetic hoop, be sure to purchase additional magnets. Mine has only 4 magnets, and I need to find a company to order more magnets. Well, what we're talking about, though, Dana, is called the Snap Hoop Monster or something, and the magnets are built right into it. They're right in the upper hoop, and there's, I guess, however it works. And so you just lay it on top, and it just sticks to it. You don't have any clipping to do. So Bonnie, that's how you're. Well, then,
Mm.
I guess the ones that you're you've
Maybe
got,
it's a different system.
must be a little different system. Anyways, wow, that's an interesting diversion there. We got all into
This
embroidery.
looks like it's an embroidery hoop that Husqvarna sells.
Oh, it could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, they're fun. They're expensive machines, but they're fun. I know some people buy them because they want to start a little business on the side, which I don't know how that would work because they're not fast. Like if you've got to make multiples of something because, and you know,
If it's a little thing, it's not too bad.
not too bad on a little thing, but anything more elaborate or that, I don't know. I would think that people who want to do this as a business need to buy one of those multi-needle machines because that's the other thing about these domestic embroidery machines. You only have one needle. So every time you change color, you have to rethread your machine for that. I mean, it doesn't take that long, but you still have to do it.
Yeah, but saying some embroidery designs can have 20 different colors it's using.
What's that?
Some embroidery designs can have like 20
Well,
colors.
yeah, but you can get machines that have 20 different
Yeah.
needles too. But those machines cost you thousands and thousands of
huge.
dollars, and they're huge. They're industrial strength in there. And apparently, you said that you have to check the tension on every one of the.
Well, each of your needles have,
Yeah,
have
so-
a separate tension.
So, you know, like anything, the more elaborate it is, the more complicated it gets. But embroidery is fun on a machine. So, anyways, that takes us down to my sewing classes. And I'm doing 2 on Tuesdays, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. And they're fine. We don't really have any dits in these 2 classes I'm taking this time. And what I mean by that is you usually have at least one who hasn't got a clue, hasn't picked out their fabrics, hasn't come prepared to the class, usually falls behind, usually monopolizes the instructor's time for everybody else. But no, these 2 classes, there doesn't seem to be any dits in it, except for the one but that was an embroidery class, and that was my class. The one that was talking about, you know, that are machine embroider. No, it doesn't. But anyways,
Yeah,
so
there's usually one in one of those classes.
yeah, there's
right, you know.
usually always something. It always surprises me. Bonnie says I'm doing an online quilting class from Lady Hamilton, Ontario, in Hamilton, from a lady in Hamilton, Ontario area, I believe. Oh, okay. I've never ever done one of those sew along or quilting classes that are online. They don't appeal to me. I like to be right there in the room with the instructor, but I can easily do that here because we're lucky we've got a good quilting store in our area. But if you're in some place where you don't have one, then yeah, I guess that would be an alternative, eh? Yeah, like Bonnie says, doesn't have a choice. Nothing in this area. Yeah, so that's what I mean. So
Yeah,
then it
actually,
works.
the store that we go to, there's a lot of people that travel from all over the place to just go to their classes.
Yeah. So yeah, they come from
Like even,
miles away.
even one of the bag classes that I was in, there were 2 ladies in there that were coming from northern Toronto, and they said they couldn't find a similar class even in Toronto.
So Bonnie, you say they have a Facebook group. What's she called? I wonder if I have heard of this person or not. And now that I got my Facebook account back and it seems to be operating fine. So, like I said, never say never. Freya says, what software designed to create embroidery?
Okay, we don't actually design
No.
our embroidery. You can get software, but it's
Very expensive. Like thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And from what I hear, they're very difficult. They have a very steep learning curve. So you've got to be somebody who's really serious about doing their own designs and to take the time to really learn how to do this and the expense you have to
Elaine
put up for it.
Farrell.
Oh, no, have not heard of her at all. Have to look her up.
Yeah, what normally we do is purchase pre-made designs from
various sites.
various websites. And
There's one called Embroidery Online, another one called embroiderydesigns.com, Creative Kiwi, Sweet Pea Designs, I think. I think there might be something called Grace Designs. I've never bought from them. And you said there
Cool
was
Stitches,
Cool Stitches,
Urban
and
Threads.
Urban Threads. There's all kinds of them out there. And actually, the prices on most of these are fairly good.
Yeah.
Like you, on an average sophisticated embroidery design, you pay anywhere from $2.99 up to maybe $6.99.
Bonnie says she has Premiere Plus 2 embroidery software, which I have no idea.
Oh,
what that
don't
is.
know this.
I know that the Genome software runs around $2,600.
Yeah, and I know Brother has one too, and it runs. It's a little cheaper, but it's only for Brother machines, that kind of thing. But so, Bonnie, do you do a lot of designing in that? And
There are companies that will digitize a design for you if you you can pay them to do
Yeah.
that. I don't know how much it costs.
I mean, now you're getting into really customized work, and I suppose if it's something that you need, like say you were designing a logo for,
Your own
a
business.
team or your business
Yeah.
or something, it's probably worth either investing in this and doing it yourself or having somebody else do it for you. I've got the hiccups. She says, yes, love working with it, but just for myself. Yeah. And did it take, was there much of a learning curve on it? Like, did you spend hours and hours and hours trying to figure out what to do? I didn't pay over $1,000 for it. Okay, good price. But I suppose it's dedicated to the Husqvarna machine, right? That you have. It won't work probably with other machines. Or will it? I don't know. This is an area of machine embroidery I'm really not well versed in. So anyways, yeah, they're a lot of fun. No, I'm very persistent. Love that type of thing. No to being just for HQ. Oh, okay. Are you looking it up?
No, I'm just
you're
gonna.
Quebec? Well, I'll have to maybe investigate that and see what it's all about. Because I know the Genome one is something like $4,000.
No, it's 2,600.
Oh, I thought it was 4,000. I
No,
thought.
it's 2,600.
Oh, okay, fine. Maybe it's 4,000 yen. I don't know. So, anyways, what else? Well, we went to the doctor on Monday because it's our 3-month checkup. She likes to see us 4 times a year. My old doctor.
Well, that's how I got started.
Yeah, well, drives me nuts. But anyways, oh, sorry, lost your feed, so not sure what you said. Oh, I just was going to say, is there a steep learning curve with that program that you're using? Like, did it take a lot of time to learn it? So the doctor said your blood work was all good, wasn't it? Yeah, well, mine was too, except that there was a little bit of protein in my urine sample. And she said that's not anything to really worry about. That happens. Your kidneys are supposed to filter that out, apparently. So to just watch that. She says that may happen sometimes if you get a cold or flu or something. Well, I haven't had either of these things. Although that may not be necessarily true because I've got a plug eustachian tube in this ear right now. But I usually get that once a year at different times. So I just take extra strength Claritin and it's supposed to clear it all up. So right now I can only hear from this ear. If I don't want to listen to Walter, I'll turn my head. Frey says will not work for Genome.
No. it
Yeah,
doesn't.
okay. Oh, you just looked it up?
Yeah, it's Husqvarna.
Yeah, well, anyways, I'm not that
Oh,
interested.
I don't know.
What?
There is one that's called Premiere Plus 2.
Well, that's what she's got.
Yeah, I know, but there's also ones that says file formats available, and one of them's a job for Genome.
Oh, okay. And how
But
much
then
is it?
there's also one that just is sold through. This was Premiere Plus 2, but then there's one that is sold through Husqvarna too. So
Okay. Bonnie says we'll do any
$500.
file format. $500. Well, that's a lot less.
yeah.
I'm not sure if I really want to get into trying my own designs because
Yeah.
right now, with the number of things that are out there online that I can get for a reasonable price, that seems to do for my purposes. And then actually, I have a whole bunch of Anita Good designs um, that I don't know how this guy that was taking the embroidery class that I took got them, but he gave them to me. And there are hundreds of files. And okay, I have a feeling they might be pirated. But, anyways, he gave them to me and I've got them. So, Anita Good Designs has a lot of really cool embroidery designs, but they're not cheap, and they have this club that you can join, and you can get all the designs for the whole year, but it's several $1,000s to join for a year. I mean, you will get literally 1,000 designs or more from that, and they come out with new releases every month. That's why it's like a club, but extremely, I think, way too expensive for the average person. Um, anyways, so yeah, the doctor thing, the protein. Oh, and then she said there was something about my prostate because I had to have one of those PSA tests in the blood, and she said, well, it wasn't anything to get worried about or whatnot, because then she says, because a man of your age, this is fairly normal. Excuse me, a man of my age? I mean, yes, I'm old enough to be my doctor's father, probably. And she says, and how are you doing with your diet? Like she weighs me when I'm in there, and I don't know, her scales always seem to be more than my scales. Of course, I'm fully clothed and I've got winter boots on when she weighs me, kind of a thing. When I weigh myself at home, I'm not wearing any of that. I'm not wearing
Yeah,
anything at all.
and you have to have both feet on the scales, huh?
Yeah, funny. You're so funny. But anyways, yeah, she's a skinny little mini. You spit
She's
right through
actually
her.
very anemic. Like
Yeah, she looks anemic, really, for a doctor. And then she always says, so, are you going out to eat? Well, on occasion. We don't eat out every night. We actually average probably, if you count lunch, once a week, really.
Mm-hmm.
And, do you eat a lot of processed food? Well, no, not really. And this kind of stuff. And what's your salt intake? Okay, you're taking all the fun out of it. And how much do you drink? I said, I only have one glass of wine a night. Glass is this big, but it's only one. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. But I guess we're okay at the moment, so that's good. I hate going to doctors. Doctors and dentists. Ugh. I don't like either one. Yeah, Bonnie. Oh, cheery thought, Bonnie. We all have to die sometime. Well, I don't want it to be tomorrow. I got too many things to do yet. Okay, so Walter's birthday was last weekend, as you know. Well, Monday, actually. So we went out for dinner. Okay, I just said we didn't go out, but last week we did. And we actually pigged out. We went to the Keg. Those of you that live in Canada know what the Keg is. It's a steakhouse kind of a thing. And so we went to the Keg. And we did pig out. We started with escargot. I love escargot. But it was just dripping in garlic butter. And then we had a salad, Caesar, okay. And then we both had steaks, teriyaki steaks, I had the loaded baked potato, which means it's loaded with sour cream and bacon and 3 cheeses or something like that. You only had butter on yours, didn't you?
Yeah.
Boring. We didn't have dessert though, and we did have a bottle of wine. Oh, and we had a beer before because we had to wait for a table. The woman at the counter when we got there was a little bitchy, like the hostess, because we walked in. It was a Monday night, and it was busy. People don't eat at home anymore. They all go out. And the Keg is not a cheap restaurant. I mean, There are ones that are much more expensive than the keg, but it's not a cheap one. But there's all these people, so we had to wait. And they're saying, well, it'll be an hour to an hour and 10 minutes wait for a table. And I said, that's fine. We're not in any rush. We
No.
expected to wait.
No birthday cake. Actually, I'm not that crazy about cake.
No, he doesn't like cake. Doesn't want birthday cake. So we said, that's fine. And she says, you can have a table in the bar. You can order off our menu in the bar. And I said, no, I don't want that. Thank you. We'll wait. And I says, and we'd also like a booth, because they have tables and they have booths. But if you get a table, the tables, you're kind of, you feel like you're sitting in the middle of everything, kind of a deal. And we don't like that. And she says, well, I'll try. Well, don't put yourself out, honey, because we'll wait for as long as it's going to take to get one. But I said, okay, thank you. So we didn't wait an hour. We only probably waited half an hour. And we had a beer while we're waiting in the bar. And they took us to our table. Well, the first thing the guy went to a table that was seating us. And I says, no, I said, I requested a booth. He says, oh, okay. Well, there happened to be a booth right there. It's still dirty dishes on, but they cleaned it off real quick and we sat there. So that was fine. But if that hadn't been available, I would have said, it's okay. We'll wait till there's a booth. We'll go back into the bar. I have done that before. Because my philosophy when you go out for dinner is that the restaurant doesn't control you. You control them, because after all, I'm paying for this. And if I'm going to be dropping a couple of $100 on dinner, then I get to choose where I want to sit. I know you're busy. I don't mind waiting. That is okay. That's all part of my plan in there. So don't give me a table by the kitchen doors. Don't sit me in one of the worst type of seatings I hate is those bench seats that run across a big wall and they have tables and then the chair on the other side. And the tables are this far apart from each other. If I want to eat with other people, I will have invited them along with me. I don't want to be sitting in somebody's lap. And there's been many times we've gone into a keg and they've been busy, and those are the ones they try to seat us at, and it throws them off when I turn around and go, no, I'm sorry, I don't want to sit there. I would prefer a booth. Thank you. We'll wait until something comes available. And amazing, every time we do that, suddenly we get a preferable seating. So I don't know what that's all about. But anyways, we had a nice meal, but we both had a little problem after we came home. I think it was we haven't been used to eating such rich food for the last little while that our systems were we're a little, and usually, it's not that the food is bad or anything like that. I think it was just our systems weren't used to that kind of quantity that we had. So catching up here. Did you have a good birthday?
Yes.
Okay, he did. Good.
Thanks, Cindy, for the happy birthday wish.
Okay. Chris says, hope you had a taxi. No, we only had one bottle of wine and it was over a period of about 3 hours, so we were okay. Otherwise, yes, we would have. And Laura says, and you're always squashed against another table. Booths are better. Yeah, that's what our philosophy is. So, but bottom line is, I'm the customer. You're getting my money. You don't dictate to me. It's like restaurants. Okay, this is probably very North American, but when I go to a steakhouse, I want steak sauce, and I will ask for it. Now, the keg has their own sauce, which I really like. In fact, we have some here at home for it, and I always ask for it. I've been to some places, though, where they refuse. No sauce. No. Because our meat is so delicious and so perfectly cooked that you don't need sauce. I get sauce not because I need it, it's because I like it. I like it. And if I'm paying for it, screw you, chef. I don't care how great a chef you are. I don't care who you are. I'm still the customer and I'm paying your salary by ordering this meal. If I want to smother that goddamn piece of meat in steak sauce or whatever, then fine. Now, I'm very elegant about it. I don't put it on the meat. I put it on the side in dip. Okay, I'm not one of those ones that smothers it in it, but
I don't like steak sauce. So.
well, I don't care what you don't like. You can
Yeah,
have
no.
it your way. I'm going to have it my way. Simple as that. Bonnie says,
What type of foods do we cook at home? Every type.
every type. We had Indian last night. I did Indian last night, and tonight we're having French. We're having beef bourguignon, which Walter made a few weeks ago, and then we had lots of it left over, so we froze it. So it's thawing out as we speak.
Yeah.
On
And
that,
the only thing we don't cook is fish because we don't like fish.
yeah, we hate fish.
But I'll make Italian stuff. We'll make Indian stuff.
We
We'll
make Chinese.
Chinese stuff. We'll make what else? Greek stuff.
Greek, yeah. I haven't done Greek in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see. Sometimes pasta. Sometimes not pasta.
Oh, sometimes we do Thai.
Yeah.
We make Thai. Walter makes a really good shrimp Thai dish. Shrimp curry kind of
Yeah,
Thai.
actually, the only way I like tofu is if you fry it. It tastes like eggs then.
Yeah, tofu.
Oh, any Dutch dishes? Well, I haven't made anything really Dutch in a while.
No, but he has. He's made croquettes.
Yeah, croquettes and boerenkool.
Boomkel.
Yeah, which is kale, basically.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I've tried tofu before. I'm not really thrilled with the texture of tofu. It's sort of spongy.
won't cook tofu. I don't get it.
Oh, Bonnie loves croquettes. So you know what they are. Okay.
And
Now
I haven't
something
made croquettes in a while.
something you haven't made in years is rouladen.
That's German, and I don't make rouladen.
Oh.
I made it once, and it didn't turn out, and I just never tried it again.
Oh.
So.
Should it? Well, your sister makes it, doesn't she?
Yeah, she makes it. Actually, she does. They do a good job.
'Cause I like
She makes
rouladen.
it. That's
That's
how
good.
I got the recipe from her, but it just never turned out the way I made it. So
Yeah. Yeah, so we've done all kinds of things. Depends on our mood. I don't know. He does all the cooking now, so I just go along for the
Yeah.
ride. He says, "What do you
I
want?"
sometimes make cabbage rolls. I haven't made
Oh yeah,
them in a
cabbage
while.
rolls are good. Yeah. Oh, so we've got Ukrainian in there. Halumpshis and petaher, which are pierogies and cabbage rolls. Looks difficult to make rouladen. Well, I don't know. It's just thin beef, is it? Wrapped
It's
around a
thin beef-
pickle.
Yeah, wrapped around a pickle. And they're supposed to put some mustard in it and stuff. I don't know. I haven't. I tried it a few times. I tried it once. Maybe I should revisit it and try it again sometime.
I used to make years ago another Ukrainian dish called. Now I can't think of what it's called. It's basically kielbasa with sauerkraut. It's real hard to make.
Yeah, well,
Kabusta. Yeah, kabusta. Bonnie made cabbage rolls too. One of my favorites. Yeah. Yeah, Walter makes good cabbage rolls. Actually, we have a lot of, we have German, Ukrainian, and Dutch in our city, and they have pavilions. And you can go there. Once a year, there's usually a big festival, they call it, and fiesta, and you can go to all these pavilions and try all these different foods. But in the last few years, people always used to flock to the Ukrainian ones and the Polish ones because they would make cabbage rolls and you know, the chicken kebabs and things like that. Well, the last time we had a cabbage roll from one of those places, it looked like it was pink slurry, if you know what pink slurry is. And
it was gross.
They were gross, and there was
They
no
supposedly
meat.
had meat in them, but they don't have any meat
No.
in them. It's all rice, so
Yeah,
they've screwed around with it to try and maximize their profit so much, and it's just not good. So I make some on my own. We buy some pierogies, frozen pierogies, and that for a meal or whatever. But
yeah. Kathy loves those too, the cabbage rolls and that. Her friend in HS. What's HS? Was PA Dutch, Pennsylvania Dutch.
Pennsylvania, yeah.
But what's HS? And they had cabbage rolls. High school. Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about like a state or something. What state has HS? In that high school. Okay, got it now. Yeah, so we eat a variety of things, but as long as it's not fish or seafood. Like seafood, we like lobster.
I mean, we cook
We like
steak.
shrimp.
I do steak here too.
Yeah.
I mean, we went to a steakhouse, but it's steak.
Yeah.
But it's nice not to do it yourself. So
Well, he usually cooks that in the sous vide, which
yeah,
makes it perfect every time. And we do buy steak. Actually, we buy most of our steak from
Costco.
Costco because it's AAA Alberta
Beef.
Alberta beef. That's it. Spit it out. Bunny says, my recipe for cabbage rolls is from a Hungarian recipe. Simple but good. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I just got my recipe off the internet, and I just sort of picked the ones that I like the ingredients.
So anyways, we had a friend this week that we found out had a very serious health problem. Well, he had a heart attack last weekend. And he had like an 85% blockage of one artery or whatever, and his other arteries or whatever it's in there, they're plugged pretty bad too. So they put in a stent, and he's home now, and I think he's recovering okay from that, but that was a bit of a shock. Kind of a shock when you get to an age when you have friends that are getting things like, well, what we always consider more or less. I mean, I know a heart attack can happen to anybody at any age, but you usually associate heart attack with older people, and then you realize you are older people. So, anyways, he's okay from what I hear right now. He may down the road have to have a bypass surgery, but I guess he's okay. Well, he is. He's in his early 70s. So, anyways, yeah. So that was, something we weren't expecting there. So, what's newsworthy? Well, dirty politics from our provincial government with the teachers' strike. Now they're spinning all kinds of lies about the teachers and the whole bit. Things are just getting nastier and nastier. And I ran into a guy I used to teach with at the hairdressers this week, and he's retired as well. And he said that he'd heard that the government intends to drag this out until at least May. They're really not negotiating with each other. The government is saying that the teachers aren't being reasonable, and the teachers are saying the government's not being reasonable. And basically, I would believe the teachers because this government is just trying to undercut our education system badly. And the ironic part of all of this is the Minister of Education is a young guy. He's 30-some years old, doesn't have any children, went to private school. His assistant is a 22-year-old guy who got elected into the government, who was homeschooled and does not have any children of his own either. What would they know about education? Nothing. But then again, the person who's head of our healthcare, the Minister of Health, she's a lawyer. She has no background in the healthcare system. I mean, it always amazes me that in governments, they put in people that have no background for the thing that they give them the portfolio for. And I guess that's probably the same everywhere in the world. Yeah. But, it just, you would think it would make more sense to put somebody in who knows something about the education system. Somebody with a private school education doesn't know anything, and homeschool for sure doesn't, and don't get me on that topic. In fact, that's going to be next week's topic. We're going to talk about homeschooling and why I think it's stupid, and why I think people who do homeschooling are equally as stupid. And I know there's going to be people hating on me for that, but I don't care. And actually, this week we were going to talk about the disease going on, and we've already almost used up all our time. We got really talking about embroidery. But, the whole thing with the coronavirus right now, we have in our area, in Toronto especially, we have a very high Asian population. And things are turning bad for them. People are not shopping in Chinatown, in Toronto. And I have to admit that the irrational side of me sees someone that is of Asian descent, and immediately you kind of go, oh, could they have the disease? Now, I know that's completely stupid, and I know anybody could have the disease. It just happened that it happened in China. But they're afraid. They're saying in the news and that there could be a surgence of racism because of this. Um, it could have happened in any country in the world, mind you, those countries that eat snake, or whatever. But anyways, it's not looking very good. But the media are spinning this. They use words like apocalyptic, global epidemic. They spin all of this to put fear into people, which isn't right. I mean, they've had false reports on Facebook and on college campuses in our area saying that, there's been several cases breaking out and all in the campus. Those were not true. We only have 3 confirmed cases, last I heard on the news, of coronavirus in Canada.
No, 4.
Is it 4 now?
Yeah, no, there was 3 in Ontario, and 4th one is in BC.
In BC. And then there's like ones that are that they're checking out because they were on flights and things where someone may have had it. But I just heard on YouTube before we went live today that in Mexico they were stopping a whole bunch of Uber drivers, taking their certification away from them because some driver had somebody that they suspected may have had the coronavirus, and there was no confirmation of it, nothing. Mexico has not declared that they have anybody, any known cases of the coronavirus. But you see that, so this is something like it's shut down 240 operators, Uber operators, this kind of thing. Like, it's crazy. We had SARS back, what was that, 15 years ago?
2003.
2003, yeah. And it was worse than the coronavirus, so statistics say. So I don't know. It's getting crazy. Cruise companies.
Forget they also brought that up as more people die of flu, and nobody seems to be concerned about that.
Yeah, and I got an issue with that whole thing about flu. Is that we have a free vaccination program in Ontario for that, and although it doesn't cover every possible strain of the flu, at least it gives you a fighting chance against the flu. And there are people who refuse to get it. And they refuse to get it because, one, they say, oh, I'll get the flu if I have that. No, you can't. Basic grade 9 biology. It's a vaccine. You can't get it. They put a dead virus in your system. It creates the antibodies. You cannot get the flu from it. Yes, you can get sick from the shot if you're allergic to eggs. Or egg whites, they ask you that kind of thing.
Or it might trigger an immune system response.
But the whole point is these people who aren't getting the flu shot. I'll give you an example. My hairdresser. I go in on Thursday to get my hair cut. She comes in. She's sick. She's been off work for a couple of days. She said the only reason she was coming in that day is because she was having to cancel some people's appointments and moving them ahead, and it was just causing a ripple effect. So after she cut my hair, she had 2 other people she had to do, and then she was going back home. And I said to her, did you have the flu shot? No. I was going to get one, but I just didn't get around to it. I just didn't have the time. That isn't an excuse. Okay? Yes, it is your right to not get medical treatment. It is not your right to pass on a disease to another human being. If you're sick, if you haven't had the vaccination, then if you get sick, you stay home. You stay home and isolate yourself. I've known people who are well educated, teachers that I work with, who used to argue with me every year. They didn't get the flu shot. Same thing. These are educated people. They understand how vaccinations work and the whole bit. And they're working around with snot-nosed kids. The kids get sick at about October, and they don't come back to health again until about April. And you're around hundreds and thousands of them all day long. And they're horking and spitting and sneezing and coughing and wiping this stuff on all the surfaces. Like, give me a break.
But Bonnie says you should have walked out. Yeah, but then he'd still need a haircut.
Yeah. Well, actually, I said to her, look, I did say to her, I said, Laura, if you're That's the name of my hairdresser. I said, if you're feeling that bad, I said, I don't have to get my hair cut today. We can just cancel today and book it later down. I'll live. It's not a matter of life. No, no, I'll do it. Well, I had the flu shot, so hopefully whatever she had is one of the strains that is in the flu shot. I don't know. I'm knock wood. I feel okay so far. So, yeah, rather have long hair than the flu. Get your scissors and oh, yeah. I don't want his haircut. I'm keeping mine. It may be gray, but I'm keeping mine. But the whole point is, and this comes with the coronavirus and the other thing. There's just some practical sense here. One, don't eat snake. Okay? That's the problem over in other countries in the world. In some countries, they don't have the regulations we're used to in our own country. On food and things like that. Two, it was Chinese New Year. It is Chinese New Year, whatever. I never know when Chinese New Year seems to go on forever. I'm sure that this snake thing that some of them were getting is probably a delicacy. So it's not like street people eating swamp water. These are probably people who can afford to get this, and it's something to their palate that is good. They didn't eat the snake expecting to get sick. Okay, I'm sure of that. I think China did the right thing. I mean, they basically quarantined the whole damn country, it seems, and there's a lot of people. And that's the other thing about Chinese, that their cities are huge. We've been there. We've seen them. And like one city we were in had 33 million people living in it. That's the population of our entire country. So, your personal space over there is much smaller, so easier to transmit diseases. Also, certain cultures have certain habits that are disgusting, like spitting. Oh, I hate that. When I see people spit on the street.
Asians seem to do that.
And yes, and that unfortunately, see, and it's borderline here on sounding racist, but I've seen it a lot. Okay, and it's usually Asians. Not to say that there aren't Caucasians, North Americans, Canadians, whatever, that's also do it, but it's like.
Well, that's inviting says that the death rate is less, but that hasn't been verified yet as to what the death rate actually is.
No.
They're saying that that assuming that China is accurate with their reporting on how many deaths there are.
But there is some positive signs in this too. The Australians apparently have been able to replicate the disease. So I guess from a scientific point of view, if you can replicate the disease, then that is a step towards finding a vaccination for it. If they know how, I guess, I'm not a biochemist here or whatever, so I'm not sure how that works.
It's going to take a year to get a vaccination anyway.
Yeah, so wash your hands, people. That's what they're telling everybody. Wash your hands, don't touch your face, don't touch your eyes, all that kind of stuff. Don't be kissing anybody you don't know. And don't kiss those you do know. I don't know. Stuff like that. I joke. But, it's just, I think the media is doing the worst thing. Yeah, you got to be warned about it. Apparently, a surgeon went through Pearson Airport, Toronto Airport, who had been in contact with the coronavirus.
No, he wasn't in contact with the coronavirus, what you were talking about. He had the flu really
bad. He had the flu, okay.
He had the flu, he had a runny nose. He said his nose was running like Niagara Falls. He was going through the airport, and nobody stopped him. Nobody took his temperature, nothing. He asked them if they had the questions about whether he was sick and stuff like that, and he answered them that he was. But they never took his temperature or nothing.
Oh, so much for our safeguards in this country. But, anyways, we lived through SARS. There's been other diseases like the Spanish flu in, 1914 or 1917 or something that, wiped out a lot of people, but that was because we didn't have the medical technology then that we have now, supposedly, for that kind of stuff. Lots of white folks do the spitting too. I don't know where that habit came from. Why? Why do people think it's not even like You're walking down a busy street.
I never do that.
And
I think
no,
it's gross.
it's just gross. Like,
Actually, what's even grosser is I've been to the gym and somebody's been doing it in the shower.
gross me out the door. Well, remember,
That's why I wear flip flops everywhere.
was it on that cruise that we went from New Zealand to Australia?
Yeah.
And we got off the ship, and some guy, he was an American, he horks up a loogie right there while we're waiting to get on a bus for an excursion, and the security person came up to him and gave him proper hell for doing that. And I thought, and this guy says, well, what do you want me to do with it? She says, swallow it. And I thought, good for you.
And not only that, I think it's illegal in New Zealand
Mm-hmm.
to do that. So,
And we know that in Singapore.
yeah.
You don't even chew gum in Singapore. It's illegal. You could eat off their streets in Singapore. Their subway stations, you could lay down on the floor and lick it and not get anything. That's how clean it is there. And they have laws to keep it that way. And I think we need to have laws in North America too against spitting. And I think if somebody gets caught spitting, I think they should be dragged away into jail. Or make them clean up all the gum that's stuck on a sidewalk with their fingers. Yeah. Anyways. Bonnie says, doesn't mean that we have to judge all Chinese people in Canada and think they're the corner. But I know, we don't. But people are. And again, I think a lot of that comes from the media. The way they're spinning it. What do you think of the TTC driver telling people they stink and shouldn't be on the train? Oh, hadn't heard about that one.
No.
Yeah, okay, that is something, there are people who don't
I
realize.
had a boss that was like that. I had a boss that had very bad odor problem.
Yeah, body odor. Yeah, okay, there are people who wear a whole bottle of cologne or perfume on their body that make you just about sick too. But you don't usually say anything to those people because, one, you can't really catch a disease from that. So, yeah, I don't think the TTC driver was really in the right to do that.
No.
Plus, if it was somebody you're working with, and you might be able to take them aside quietly and say, this is kind of embarrassing, but I just want you to know that we've noticed some people have complained. I mean, I don't know how you approach something like that.
No, I just
wear a clothes peg, I guess.
What happened with us is we just made sure we weren't sitting next to her.
Yeah, so there you go. Chris says, I hate spitting, it's so disgusting. Yeah, very unhealthy. We are too quick to judge and put people in baskets. Yeah, generalizing. It's true. It's true. But I mean, that could be the scary thing, though. A lot of people, if this thing gets any worse, who knows? Some people may lash out at the Asian community. I wouldn't want to think that they would do that here in my country, but, yeah.
Actually, I had many years ago, I was on a commuter train, and I had gone to a bar in Toronto at the time and had a couple of drinks there. And those days, the bars you could smoke in. So I must have smelled like smoke too. I sat down in the train, and the woman sitting next to me got up and moved somewhere else.
Oh. Yeah, I'm glad you don't do that anymore. Yeah, I mean, I've been in situations where you could smell the person coming from a mile away because they didn't believe in deodorant or bathing. So I don't know. I don't know what you do in that kind of situation. But yeah, the press and social media is really having a run with misinformation. Oh yeah, fake news, whatever. So yeah, so I guess we'll see how this all turns out, and hopefully it'll, no pun intended, it'll die out quickly. As a non-smoker, yes, I probably would move away too. Yeah, I would
Well,
too.
I wasn't smoking. It was just in a smoke-filled bar.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Oh, I remember the days before they got the smoking laws in that you couldn't smoke. And you'd go to a club or something, and you'd come home and everything had to go in the wash. You had to have a
Yeah.
shower because it'd be in your hair and everything from it. Oh, I used to hate that in those days. So, anyways, I think our time is pretty much up. And yeah, so. Other things don't need to be discussed. So next week, I think our topic is going to be homeschooling and private schooling. And yeah, I feel very strongly about this topic. So I warn you right now, I will not be very accepting of other points of view on it. We'll listen to them, of course, but I will not be very accepting, and I will explain why. Okay, as well. But anyways, it should be a good conversation. So think about it. You probably have experience. Somebody out there probably has some experience with it, and I'm sure other people have opinions as well about that. So that's what we want, opinions. So my glasses are all dirty. Bonnie says, great conversation, Taj. We'll get my hubby in on the conversation next week because he's a former teacher. Oh, yeah, get him in on that. That would be good. And Stephen, sorry about the name confusion at Barb's last week. Oh yeah, Carol. It was when Barb was on live, Barb Owen.
Oh yeah.
And Carol said something to me about being in Austin. And I says, I think you got the wrong Stephen with that. But that's okay, Carol. It happens. I was no big, I just thought it was funny. Thanks, Bonnie. And have a great weekend. The same to you, Laura. And next week should be interesting. Hope it is. And we'll be on at 4 o'clock next weekend as well. So, oh, wait. Yes, we will be. Next Sunday, I'm taking that other class.
But it ends
at 2, so no problem. Okay, so have a good rest of the Sunday. And for those of you in Australia, have a good Monday.
And if you watch a Super Bowl, have a good Super Bowl.
Yeah, Super Bowl, whatever, bah humbug. Okay, talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.